Well, we're back out here on the Plymouth. I'm not even sure what video this is now. I've just got everything so mixed up. But we got a bunch of goodies to install this time. So this is a complete air ride kit from Airmaxxx. Came with the tank, 4 bags, all the wiring for the dual compressors, the air manifold, which is super similar to like the AccuAir VU4 made by Airmaxxx. And then it came with the controller, all the airline, and some extra extended wires and all that. So everything here, except for these brackets, was like $1,100, including the bags and everything. And then these brackets are just S10 front cups from Jason Thornbeck. And then the rears, I'm gonna make my own brackets. So pretty much everything here, less than 1,500 bucks, I can have this car on air ride and have a far better setup than what I have in the 58. So I'm super excited to get this installed, and yeah, I'm ready to get this thing going. So like I was saying, it's got dual 480 compressors, and then here's the little manifold, the controller, and then a bunch of fittings, 2 water traps, all of our wiring, fuses, airline, and then 2500 series airbags. And then these are the front cups from Jason Thornbeck at Four Bros. But for the tank, back here in the trunk, I got everything cleaned out, coated, rust protected, good to go. I'm gonna mount the tank up under this deck lid and have it hanging down so it's out of the way, because there's not really a flat spot back there to put it like I wanted, because it's got this hump here for the differential. But I'll just hang it from above. And then I was thinking of putting the compressors on the wheel wells, as long as there's no clearance issues with the tires. So I'm gonna get this thing up in the air and double check that before I go screwing holes into it. But worst case, I'll just put the compressors down lower or put them on the tunnel underneath the tank. But yeah, this trunk came out pretty good. I pressure washed it, wiped everything down, vacuumed it all out, blew it out with air, got it as clean as I could, and then just used underbody coating. And this is the coating I used. It's rubberized undercoating by 3M, but it actually hardens fairly well. It doesn't stay super tacky like regular underbody. It gets hard and has texture. So I like this stuff a lot better than the stuff I did inside the car when I did the floors. Like, this stuff in here is not textured like I wanted. So I got some extra of that stuff. I'm gonna put it over it. But I think first things first, let's get this tank mounted up in here and see how that's gonna fit. All right, brackets are all bolted in. Got the straps on there. I just need to throw the fittings in the tank, and then we'll throw the tank in there. All right, so for all the fittings, I'm gonna use their supplied thread locker sealant stuff. It said on the packages that Teflon is not recommended and to just use this stuff, so I'm gonna give it a try. I've never used it before. I usually use Teflon, but we'll see what happens. So we got pressure sensor, and that's going to go on the bottom port. So we got the drain, pressure sensor, plug, 2 outlets, and then the edges are going to get the water traps. Well, I mocked up one of the compressors where I want it. I think I'm going to mount it tilted up a little though, make it look a little cooler. But I need to go grab some hardware for that. All right, I'm gonna start making some of the back brackets here. So I got the 4-inch lowering blocks in here, new U-bolts, new lower plates, and these are from Rough Stuff, so they're pretty heavy duty. They're for like a rock crawler, but it's the only thing I could find locally that was the right bolt pattern. And then as for the bag, I'm gonna go right on top of the leaf right here, and I'm just leaving the bag enough hangover to where I can get to the bolt under here, because normally you'd put them up like this and be able to get the bolt in the center, but I want to leave it down, so I'm just going to have it offset a little bit just to get to the bolt. And then that gives us enough room over here where we're not going to hit the frame at all. So I just got to build a bracket for up here, and it's going to hug the frame on that side and this side, and then this one will just be a flat plate, and I have some 1/4 inch, so pretty thick stuff. We'll just sandwich between the lower block and the leaf spring, come forward, and then have a round that goes around with a hole in it for the bolt. And then our airline, the fitting will be on top, and I'll just go straight up into the trunk to our tank. As for the shocks, let me grab my light so I can see better. Okay, so the shocks, factory location on the top. I just have a punch in there holding it now. And these are super short little shocks. And right now I have it set with about a 1/4 inch away from bottomed out. And then these are also from Rough Stuff. They're off-road shocks. But they're cool because I'm able to mount the shock sideways on the side of the axle rather than on top of the axle. So that'll be there. It's pretty gnarly shock angle, but it's actually less than the factory shock angle on this car, so I think it'll work fine. And then, so this is the axle all the way up into the frame as high as it goes, so as low as the car goes, and that's where the shock sits. So bottomed out, it'll still have a 1/4 inch of play, so it's not going to bottom out the shock. And then for full droop, will be about right there. So that's like 4 inches of travel, so not a whole lot. Well, I drew up some brackets, cut them out. So I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt this lower plate and slip the one piece of paper in there, and then kind of mock it up and just see how it fits. So you can see what I did. I made it a little offset just so that I can get to this bolt, and then it's just sandwiched inside the in between the leaf spring and the lowering block. And I'm building this out of 1/4 inch plate, so it'll be plenty thick. I'm not worried about nothing bending. And then the top bracket, you can see up there, it'll have a 45-degree break in it. I can weld it on the frame, and then this side will stick straight out over here, and I'll weld it on the frame right there. And I got plenty of clearance back here. Over here ain't nothing gonna hit the bag and rub through it, and then I'll be able to just run my airline straight up into the trunk. Well, between the swamp cooler blowing and that big fan blowing, we got a bit of a windstorm in here, so sorry if the audio's all screwed up. But as you can see, we got our bag brackets all cut out. Just got to get these things, get these lower ones painted, and then get these ones bent and then welded on, and I'll paint them on the car. But just about ready to go. Just got to clean up the edges a little bit and then bend these and weld them in. Got the brackets fully welded in, and then I ran out of gas when I was finishing welding the bottom of this tube over here that I added. Well, it looks pretty good. Excited to get this thing back together. I'm gonna run and grab wire and some gas tomorrow so I can finish welding this stuff, and then we'll work on the front and get the airbags up front, and also the rear shock brackets back here that I gotta add. Well, we're just jamming along out here. Got the mounts painted up, bags bolted in, fitting up top, and then I just threw this line in here to kind of mock up where I want the line to go through the floor and try to keep myself enough room for an exhaust. But I think it would work better with a straight fitting up here than the 90, but this is what I have, so I'm gonna try to find a spot to put it and make it work where it doesn't contact the shock or anything. So let me get that figured out on both sides, and then I'll drill the holes and throw the air lines in and connect them, and then start running lines to the front, and we'll get the brackets made up for the front airbags. Well, everything's all cut out and ready to bolt these bags in. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put the airline. I was gonna shoot it through the frame and go out the back, but the steering box bracket is inside the frame and I can't push nothing through it. So I think I might have to just run around to the front and then go down the other side. Might be the easiest way to do it, or just punch it out right here and have it come outside the frame. Not quite sure yet. I'm gonna play with a few ideas and see if I can figure it out. Front bags are fully in, got everything cut out, little bottom plate in there holding them on. And for the airline, I punched a hole in the frame inside there, and then it goes inside the frame and comes out right here in the engine bay, and then I'll run it down the frame to the back. Same for both sides. Plenty of clearance on the bag, don't think I'll have any issues with it rubbing anywhere. Same thing for the airline on this one, it goes in and it comes out right up here before the steering box, and then it'll run back. Alright, I'm gonna start getting this power wire ran back for the compressors. I'm just gonna put it on the inlet side of the start solenoid. And I think I want to put the fuse right here on this panel. So let me cut this wire here. Alright, that one's in there all secure. Alright, here's our bracket all welded up. Super simple. That'll get the job done. Let it cool off for a minute and then we'll throw it in the car. Our alternator bracket's working good, holding the alternator nice and steady. Belt's lined up good. And she's putting out power and charging. Call that a win in my book. Alright, got this thing running out here. Running pretty good. Just getting it warmed up. Got the fuel lines back on down there. Still need to do a lot. Gotta build the exhaust out the back, fix a few brake lines. But the air ride system is all done. Got the air compressors in there, got the tank and the manifold. Everything's all wired and ran. This stuff down here is just trash I gotta throw away and get out of there. She's looking good. Got our controller on the seat. I'm gonna get this thing up in the air, check over a few things, and then we'll get it out for a test drive. But I need to get this car turned off because it's getting pretty spicy in here. We don't need to be passing out, I'll tell you that. Well, there's the air ride all finished up. Got her laid out on the ground. Frame actually hits the ground perfectly flat all the way across the bottom. Almost lays the rockers on the ground. But they're just a little higher than the frame is. Got it looking pretty good. Still a few things to button up on it, like the lights, and bleed the brakes again, get them running better. I think we'll be on our way. Took a pretty ugly looking car and made it look halfway decent, I say. Not bad. Alright, I think that's gonna pretty much do it for this video here. Just do a quick walk around of the car and show all the stuff I installed. Got the air management all back here. I need to tidy up the wiring a little bit more. But I got the dual compressors and the manifold up on top there, and the nice seamless tank. And this is all just wiring I gotta take out of here still. But the trunk setup looks pretty clean. I still got the full trunk to use. I'm gonna set the camera down real quick and I'll show the range of movement with the air ride before the camera dies. Obviously that's all the way down. That's all the way up in the rear. And that's all the way up in the front. And I'd say that's probably right height right about there. About 4 inches off the ground. Looks pretty good. Can't wait to get some more miles on this thing and get the rest of the work all buttoned up, and this thing will be a driver. Well, thanks for tuning into this video, checking it out. Finally got a big step in the right direction for progress on this thing, and it's almost ready. Take it up to Reno for Hot August Nights. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it or learned something, or if you didn't, just thanks for checking it out.